Merry Christmas, everyone. We're going back to Thailand, and I cannot wait because we're in a blizzard right now here in Canada. So can't wait to be on the beach. Was this go around easier or harder than the first time? I'll let you know in this video. What's up, everyone? It's your boy, Professor Hot Sauce. We're back in Thailand. We made it safe and sound. We almost didn't. We're going to talk about why. Pretty much everything that could have almost went wrong, almost did go wrong, or did go wrong. Update. We are currently in the Calgary airport Christmas Eve, trying to get back to Thailand, and my flight got canceled. But hey, we're here. We're going to talk about the visa application. We're going to talk about Thailand Pass. We're going to talk about flights. We're going to talk about COVID, stupid Omicron, all that shit. Check out this video. If you like it, thumbs up, subscribe. Plan on doing many, many more. Just like the first time I was here, Thailand's a very different place than when I first left. It's a lot more vibrant, a lot more happy than it was 4 months ago. Let's hope it stays that way. Check out the video. Hope you like it. Let's talk a little bit about the visa application process. So, plus 30, escaping minus 30 in Canada. Probably going to take a dip in the pool here pretty soon. But first off, let's talk about the easy stuff. So the easy stuff was stuff I already had. So in order to get an STD, what I had to do was I had to send in a copy of my passport, 2 recent passport photos taken within the last 6 months. So that was something I had to redo. Again, something we had to do the first time. So STD, pain in the ass visa, honestly, would I recommend it? I don't know, haven't done the other visas. You can go to Thailand without a visa if you're Canadian, so you could try that. That maybe was probably a smarter approach, because on this visa I can't change it either. So the one good thing it did have for it was it allows me to stay the longest possible out of the possible visas I could get currently. And then the other thing was proven adequate finances. So you only need, apparently you only need like $800 to live in Thailand for up to 9 months. So I have a Thai bank account. I also have a Canadian bank account. That was the one thing I actually forgot when I did my application, because they have about 15 different questions that you have to answer in order to get an STD, but they don't say anything about a bank statement. Now, they called me, said, hey, you need to send this bank statement. I asked, do you want a Thai bank account or do you want a Canadian bank account? So for me, now keep in mind, what I found with Thai immigration is you'll get different responses every single time you ask. But what I found out was a Canadian bank account's better. It's a Canadian, so if you're going to another country, you have to prove your documents in Canada. So I sent that off. That was step 1. That was the easy part. Okay, so then the next thing you need is probably the next easiest thing that I thought would be easy that turned out it wasn't. So first of all, you need a criminal record check, because of course no criminals in Thailand. And then secondly, you needed a medical certificate. Now this was a lot harder than I thought it would be, because I thought I could just get it one day, go to a doctor, and it'd be good. First time I came, you just need a fit to fly certificate, and you could just like put your own handwritten note, and there was no like standard procedure, and it worked. But this time they actually had a form that you had to download off the Thai consulate, and on there you had to say that you didn't have these prohibited diseases. So there's things like leprosy, tuberculosis, third step syphilis, and a few other things. Filariasis, which I've never heard of. Apparently it's like worms in the bloodstream. So that I need to get blood work done and a urine test. Oh, and you couldn't be a drug addict. So I don't know how you test for that, but apparently that's a thing. So that actually took me a few days. So recommendation, if you're planning on doing the STD, go to a place that has a lab that they don't have to send off their results to another city, because that put my process behind about maybe a week. And I did this all about 2 weeks in advance. Now the problem is some of these things are time sensitive, but you can't do it before a certain amount of time. So it was very frustrating. Almost didn't get that. That was the last thing I had to do before actually applying for the STD. So the thing you got to realize is you got to plan, like, well, I would say at least 2 weeks in advance, because waiting on blood work 3 to 5 days, doing the actual visa application another 3 to 5 days, Thailand pass 3 to 7 days. So you add that up, we're looking at potentially 3 weeks at the longest. Now, you are kind to people at the right places, found you can usually speed that up. But yeah, anyways, that took a lot of stress and a lot of frustration. So that was the second easiest thing to do, but there's other things as well. Next up is actually getting accommodation in Thailand. So big thing you have to do is get a place to stay. You have to do 1 day quarantine. I did the test and go. And the problem was Omicron was just a thing. This was right around Christmas, and almost it was a mess. It was just a nightmare. But booked accommodation in Bangkok. Got different answers for that. I thought I could just go straight to Pattaya, but apparently you have to quarantine in the city that you fly into, which for me was Bangkok. So eventually when I got in, I spent 8 hours, very smooth process. I got picked up from the airport. Lots of documents need to have just in order to prove who you are, obviously with Thailand pass and everything like that. Once I was done, like I said, went to my hotel, spent about 8 hours there, and then I was out. That was it. Way easier than the first time. Also, of course, had to prove you're fully vaccinated, had to have a negative COVID test. That was a bit of a nightmare because initially I was transiting through Hong Kong, and when Omicron hit, you had to have a negative COVID test within 48 hours. But when I went and got it, they said it takes up to 72 hours to process. So luckily the doctor said, you know, we'll mark it as urgent and we'll get everything processed for you. So it worked out well. We made it back to Thailand, made safe and sound. Last thing I want to tell you about is the fact that my flight got canceled. So when Omicron hit, there's a bunch of flight cancellations, which caused a huge problem because Thai immigration always wants your documents to match. And when I was issued my STD, they actually gave it on the day I applied, which was the 21st, but I didn't land in Thailand until the 26th. So they had to change that at immigration. Not a big deal. We got in, and I had to pay $150 for a COVID test. I wasn't sure if I would be positive or negative for it, but luckily I was negative. And then finally got on a plane, spent 3 hours at the airport when my flight got canceled trying to explain to the workers that I couldn't land past like the 26th. Otherwise, I would mess everything up. So every step of the journey, I didn't think I was actually going to get in to Thailand, but we made it. It cost about $2,000 total. Really, really, really stressful. Would not necessarily recommend the STD, but at the end of the day, we're here, and that's all that matters. All right, so all in all, we add it all up. What does coming back to Thailand look like? STV, so let's add up the fees. Flight was around $1,200. Getting a criminal record check and having it rush delivered was $60. Otherwise, if you do 1 day, it was $25. They told me I had to pay for a medical certificate. I ended up getting a favor, didn't have to pay. So luckily, that wasn't part of it. Getting health insurance through a Thai company was 9,300 baht. which is the equivalent of just under $400, I believe. I'll run the exchange. I'll put it down below with the cost. Booking a hotel for one night was like 200 and some dollars. The room itself was 30 bucks. And because you had to do this test and go thing, that like tripled the price. So I'll put down the actual price on the video down below here. And then getting a negative COVID test was $150, having to do that. Applying for the STV itself was $130. So all in all, a grand total of coming to Thailand. You're looking at a decent amount. Once you're actually in Thailand, of course, it's very cheap, but actually getting here is not the cheapest method. So if you're looking at other visas, like tourist visas, there are other companies that do all sorts of different types of visas. So I would look at exploring there. Honestly, it was a huge pain in the ass. I thought I wasn't coming so many times. It was a lot of work, but I can stay up to 9 months. I can extend it, 1,900 baht a piece, plus all the insurance and stuff like that. So, if you do the math, I would consider all these things and then figure out what's the best option for you. And right now in Canada, it's minus 38 in my hometown, and it's plus 32 here. So only a 70-degree difference. So I have an extra bedroom. If you want to come hang out, just hit me up in the comments, and hope to see you on the next video.